Every time a patient receives a blood transfusion, a living tissue is migrating from one human body to another. Keeping it safe during the journey, absolute environmental control, it quickly becomes useless, or worse, highly dangerous to the recipient. To protect this fragile asset across its life cycle, modern medicine relies on a system called hemovigilance. This is a comprehensive quality management framework that tracks every drop of blood from the donation chair to the hospital bed. A successful transfusion relies on a three-pillared defense system: precise temperature control, strict error tracking, and global data sharing. This animated chart shows the distinct storage temperatures required for different blood components to survive. Whole blood and red blood cells must stay between 1 and 6 degrees Celsius. Platelets require a warmer environment, between 20 and 24 degrees, while plasma has to be frozen solid at -18 degrees or colder. Looking at the danger zones on this same chart, you can see what happens when we miss those narrow windows. If red blood cells drop below 1 degree, the cells freeze and rupture, a process called hemolysis. If they rise above 6 degrees, the risk of bacterial growth spikes. In the past, maintaining these boundaries meant relying on hospital staff to manually check thermometers on early mechanical refrigerators. This manual process left room for human error and unrecorded temperature spikes overnight. Today, continuous Internet of Things sensors and GPS trackers record granular temperature data every few minutes. This creates a permanent, automated digital trail during both storage and transport. This line graph demonstrates how modern systems use a proactive alarm strategy. Notice how the alert triggers here at 2 degrees and here at 5 degrees. The system deliberately warns staff before the critical 1 to 6 degree limits are actually breached. By replacing human memory and manual checks with continuous objective data, we ensure the physical viability of the blood supply. Even perfectly preserved blood poses a severe risk if a breakdown in hospital procedure delivers it to the wrong patient. The most critical vulnerabilities in the clinical setting are known as incorrect blood component transfused events, or IBCTs, along with near misses, incidents that are caught just before the transfusion actually begins. Historically, when these errors occurred, the default response was to place the blame squarely on the individual clinician involved in the transfusion process. Modern hemovigilance takes a systemic approach using root cause analysis. Instead of punishing a nurse or lab technician, teams investigate the underlying flaws in the hospital's standard operating procedures that allowed the mistake to happen in the first place. The output of this investigation is a CAPA, a corrective and preventive action plan. It provides concrete steps to fix the broken process. This flowchart shows a common CAPA in action, implementing mandatory barcode hard stops in a laboratory information system. If a blood bag's barcode doesn't perfectly match the patient's wristband, the software physically blocks the release command, stopping an incompatible transfusion. Mature quality systems use every near miss as the specific data required to systematically engineer human fallibility out of the clinical environment. Identifying a procedural flaw in a single local hospital is only the first step in true hemovigilance. To build a stronger defense, organizations like the International Hemovigilance Network pool local incident data across borders using shared coding standards. By speaking the exact same data language, this global network can aggregate millions of records to identify incredibly rare adverse reactions. These anomalies would be mathematically invisible if you only looked at a single hospital's dataset. This creates a compounding effect. A systemic vulnerability discovered in one country can instantly inform and update safety protocols worldwide. International health bodies maintain these centralized databases, driving global transparency and distributing crucial safety guidelines to developing programs. By aggregating local incidents and physical risks into a single global dataset, hemovigilance has turned blood transfusion into one of the most rigorously monitored and safest medical procedures in history.